To the global anarchists who are abusing the sacred right to protest, and to their sympathetic handmaiden partners, which is the woke mockingbird mainstream media and the Silicon Valley surveillance platforms. Know this. We're now awake to all of you. To date, the silent majority has largely remained passive and inactive towards the paid anarchist and criminal rioters. They mustn't mistake our generous and tolerant acquiescence as consent for them to continue. It has to stop, or we'll make it stop. We can clearly see peaceful protesting of grievances is not what the face-masked anarchists are about. We can now see they won't stop until they destroy our values, trash and pervert our history, disturb the peace, traumatize our children, and dismantle our way of life. All this is designed to achieve for their handlers the great reset of our civilization. Know this, we say to them. We won't allow it. We'll not consent. We'll deal with you severely should you not cease and desist trying to reset the civilization in your image. For this is the real agenda behind the trauma quickening that started in early 2020 and is still unfolding. The agenda is to bring about the new abnormal narrative we keep hearing about and we're told we must agree to by our consent, when in fact we're being coerced in a new abnormal against our will because we crave safety and security in the face of adversity. The current world turmoil is not about viruses, riots, racism or injustice. These are just misdirections to distract and divide us in the hope we won't resist or notice the reset. The plan is we'll consent by our acquiescence. It's the rapist's defense. Coercion is never consent. The Great Reset is really about slavery. It's about neo-slavery of the whole human race. The wholesale rape of the civilization. It's the new slavery of total control. Governments want it, corporations want it. Billionaires want it. We don't want it, and they don't care. In a 1961 UCLA University lecture, Julian Huxley alluded to the coming age of servitude of the human condition. He stated that in the future, we'd come to enjoy our servitude, for we wouldn't even know we'd been coerced into slavery. At least past slaves knew they were slaves. Huxley couldn't have foreseen we'd wake up one by one and finally en masse. That we'd push back despite our addictions to psychotropic drugs, painkillers, smartphones, social media, binge program streaming, online shopping, home delivery food, Alexa, Siri and the constant surveillance trade-offs leading to loss of privacy and free will. For this, ladies and gentlemen, is what is really going on at the moment in the world. Our liberty and free will is the goal of the Great Reset. Everything else is a distraction. It's simple. By pain or pleasure we can be controlled. By fear or gratification. The new slave masters understand this. Abu. T.S. For security we'll give up liberty. Save us from COVID, save us from the recession and depression and the Chinese. Save us from this and that. Save us from everything. There is a revolution unfolding before our very eyes in real time. It's a reset where everything is up for grabs, including our freedom. Some will give up to be saved from whatever alarms them on the day. Our politicians and elites say, never let a good crisis go to waste. For crisis produce times of least resistance to bring about revolutionary change when evolution isn't going to get it done fast enough. Particularly, if matters of personal security are at issue. Matters that could lead to pain. This year it's been a health and well-being emergency. In 2001 they gave us terrorism with a dash of climate change in between. Remember when a 16-year-old girl told us the scientific consensus was that the world was about to end? The media took it seriously by fanning hysteria and traumatizing our children. The media has much to answer for in creating ongoing public hysteria for their owners. They're still at it with the coronavirus, riots and race. What's next? Asteroids, Earth changes and aliens. Give us a break from the nonsense. Black Lives Matter is just an opportunistic pretext for something bigger. We all feel that. We know something doesn't make sense. The response of leadership everywhere has been inconsistent. We can't go to church or a football game, and nor can we travel, but rioting, looting, stealing and killing is just fine and deserves kneeling. The truth is always revealed by hypocrisy. Truth leaves fingerprints, and this is what we all can feel in our gut at the moment. Women feel it more so. They are mothers. They sense danger more acutely. Bullies always keep pushing until they meet resistance. We'll never ever give in to tyrants. Make no mistake, we'll make them stop by the act of exposing them. Their greatest deception has been convincing us they don't exist. We know the global riots and civil disobedience is a misdirection for a greater agenda, so for now we'll deal with the riots. The steps to restoring law and order are to identify, apprehend, separate, isolate and severely punish the hidden backroom organizers who mobilize the useful idiots. The job now is to neutralize the leadership and cut off the money. The tyrant communist Joseph Stalin first coined the term useful idiots. He exterminated his misguided fools once they'd served their nefarious purposes, traumatizing his own people through constant crisis and misdirection. Like the current generation of useful idiots, they too have no idea they're being used and will in time be cast aside. To the emasculated, kneeling, quisling, pious, fake political, celebrity, sporting and subversive community leaders, which includes corporate and brand sycophants, you won't be forgotten. We'll deal with you severely later with our odium, votes and our wallets. Globally, small cells of criminally useful idiots are inciting mobs to risk innocent life, destroy property, loot, steal and disrupt the peace, by burning, smashing and defacing statues as revered symbols of our culture. The anarchists and rioters have proven in nation after nation they're not peaceful nor genuine protesters. They've been joined by a rainbow coalition of malcontents. This is a movement trying to reset the civilization. It's not going to happen on this generation's watch. To the virtue-signaling woke mainstream media and leftist Silicon Valley tech companies, who have fueled hysteria and collaborated with the anarchist, we know you're part of the problem, giving it oxygen instead of condemning it. We know the prostitutes who have sought to control the narrative of the Mockingbird mainstream media. We know their names. We say shame on the media when we gave you a position of privilege in our communities. Enough of your betrayal of both us and our valiant defenders. The brave and dedicated policemen and women whom you sought to marginalize, demonize and demoralize. They stand between us and the barbarians who would want to destroy our civilization. The woke media has been the principal cheerleader of those who seek to enslave us. Despite the media's best efforts, our police know they have our undivided support and they too won't kneel. We have their back. They are with us, and we are with them as one. To their anarchist leadership, and the rainbow coalition of opportunists using the turmoil to advance their narrow special interests, know this. We see who you are. We see your grubby fingerprints. We see your evil divisive motives hiding amongst the weeds like vipers. Know that hard-working, law-abiding citizens are now demanding that politicians of honor, and the few loyal security agencies go after the anarchist leadership and their command and control structures. The goal is to cut off the finance of the color revolution billionaires and their evil collaborators and corporations. For this is ultimately a battle between the forces of good and evil. We know who is each of the criminals hiding behind their philanthropic face masks, the fake foundations and globalist think tanks. The criminals are using the trauma of the coronavirus and manufactured racism as an opportunity to assault us and strip us of liberty, and the life we've known, so they can impose their new abnormal with their great reset. It's not going to happen. No way. Not without a fight. We now are awakened and they know it. This explains their urgency and the quickening to inflict wave after wave of new trauma events upon us, to have us submit to the servitude of the soulless new technocratic world order. They might think they can run, but they can't hide as we're now fully awake. The silent majority have had enough. It's us who rule, for we are many and the haters of humanity are few. Get on your knees, satanic criminals, and hang your head. Because this time, it's us who is exacting swift